composer currently residing in the peaceful countryside of Connecticut. He attended LaGuardia High School of Performing Arts in New York City and went on to study guitar at the University of North Texas. A veteran guitarist, Luke has had many successes in his career. He has opened for legendary acts such as Al Green, Sun Ra, and Los Lobos, performed on Broadway, composed and recorded for television and film, worked with dance ensembles, cruise ships, theater companies, and many, many bands. In his latest project, Luke Hendon draws from the tradition of legendary gypsy guitar, Django Reinhardt. Hello, Luke, and welcome to the New Music Alliance.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Um, I was very impressed with your background. Can you start by describing what gypsy jazz is to someone who doesn't know the different types of jazz? Like, I'm asking for a friend, of course.
Oh, right, exactly. Well, really, Django Reinhardt was this guitar player, a jazz guitar player, and he was, and he sort of created this style in Europe in the 30s, and the way that makes he was just playing jazz, but he used guitars for the rhythm rather than having a drummer, and the rhythm style has now, there's a terminology for it called le pump, the pump in French, and it's a slightly, it's got a real bouncy feel to it, and the guitars that they use are generally the style of guitar that Django used, which was like sort of this French style guitar, and it just has a distinctive sound. And then instead of a horn, Django Reinhardt had Stefan Grappelli play with him, who played the violin. So a lot of times that will be the traditional setup, is like guitars playing the rhythm with the violin. So it's more like a string jazz band. And it because Django was he was a gypsy, Sinti, I think. He had that background, and those flavors are in his music, and he used the picking that they use, and it was a real aggressive style, and that community has adopted him as a hero, and he has a lot of predecessors that grow up learning his music, as kids. So they learn it by ear, and they teach it to each other, and then they also have there's a bunch of waltzes that are traditional that people play, and so it's become a style, and now it's all over the world as a style, and people have done all kinds of stuff with it and gone different places, but really at its root it's just jazz. And the terminology gypsy jazz came because maybe of a couple of things that make it unique, like that the guitars are prominent in the rhythm, and often there won't be a drummer at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What intrigues you most about the style of Django Reinhardt?
Well, he was a real innovator, and everything he played was just very unique. Kind of like in rock and roll, like Jimi Hendrix, or something like that. He was one of the greats, and his line, I like that he seemed to have just be full of energy every time he plays. It's just really exciting, and he plays a lot of these really fast arpeggios and chromatic lines, and there's always vibrato, this really dramatic vibrato in his playing, and he had unbelievable speed, too. And his melodies were great, and to me he swung too, he had a great sense of swing as well. So those are some of the things, anyway.
You recently put out your own album. What's the name of it again?
Silk and Steel.
Silk and Steel. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a special guitar? You were talking a little bit about Django in his guitar. Did you
Yeah,
have a one that's specially made?
I do. Yeah, I have two of them. One was made by a really nice guy. His name is Jerome Duffel, and the other one was made by luthier in New York City, whose name is Rodrigo Chopez. And they're both sort of styled after those guitars. There's one company called Selmer and another one called Favino, which are two of the really famous companies that made them. And um, let's see, they project really well, the guitars, and they have kind of a unusual characteristic, almost like a banjo or something. So they have a different, slightly different sound than a normal guitar. Yeah.
And I noticed the one you're playing on Silk and Steel. It looks like the neck is extended a little farther down and has like a little cutout over the hole of the guitar in the
Right.
center. Is
hmm
that by design, or do you actually like use those frets down at the very bottom?
I mean, people do play on those frets a little bit, on the high strings. If you're going to do a high run, you can go a little bit higher on that one. And yeah, I used that guitar, and then I also used another guitar which doesn't have that. It's here. I won't pull it out right now, but yeah.
I'm sure it's beautiful though.
Yeah.
I've heard that working on cruise lines as a musician isn't all that great. Did you have a good experience?
I enjoyed it at the time. It was a while ago.
Was it when you were
Yeah,
younger and
a little
starting
bit
off?
younger, yeah. And I had fun. My band leader was great, John. Oh my gosh, I got it mixed up with somebody else. But anyway, uh, um, he was wonderful, and we got to go on vacation the whole time, so that was great. The only thing I didn't like was that the rooms were really small. We had these, they weren't as big as the guest rooms,
Oh,
and so there was two of us in the rooms, and it was really cramped. And you didn't get to go home for vacation or anything like that. You just were on the ship for a long time. I think the rules are different now. I think people go home more often, but there were long stretches just on the ship, so you do get a little homesick. And some of the musicians drink too much sometimes. The drinks are very discounted for the musicians, so
right.
those were the downfalls. But I did like playing music nonstop. I played every day, so I think it's a great job for a younger person,
Mhm.
just starting out. It gets old after a while, but it's not that bad.
You've had success in the world of funk, jazz, and rock and roll, and you've been searching for your voice, as you say, that sound. Any closer now that you've studied Django's music?
I hope so. Uh, I I often will switch directions. Sometimes I'll do something totally different. So I really liked learning the style of music, especially because it had like a really, if you really talk to the people that play traditionally, it's got a definite picking technique, and so that was kind of nice just to have some definite rules to follow. But on the other hand, it was also playing very sort of like a lick oriented way of learning rather than studying scales and stuff. So that's also great. That was kind of fun. I don't know if I'm just always trying to find that sound.
Keep looking, then
Right.
let us know when you find it.
Right. I'll get a call
You're,
from Chuck Berry's brother, right?
there you go. You're performing at the Packing House in Wellington on November 6th.
Right.
Do you have any other shows coming up?
I have some little things here and there, like uh, breweries and stuff like that. But and I'm playing with some other groups. But that's the one. That's the show I'm really trying to push right now. Is that November 6th show? Um, I am. So yeah. But I will put the other shows up on my website. I'm going to do that very shortly. But yeah, I play around town pretty regularly with some other people. I play with a band called Django's Reserve, and we play. You can look on that website to find out the dates. It's called Django's Reserve. Those guys are great. I love playing with them. Yeah.
And yours is easy. LukeHendonmusic.com, right?
Right. Yeah.
Excellent. Do you have just a moment to play a quick game?
I'll give it a shot. Okay.
I call it lyrical ponderings. Real easy. I'm going to give you a song that's in the form of a question. You can either tell me who sang the song or answer the question.
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
Pick a number between 1 and 200.
5.
5. Would you take another chance on me?
Would you take another chance on me? Boy, I should know who sang it, but I don't know. Would I take another? Sure, I'd take another. This has been fun so far. So
That was Jerry Lee Lewis.
Okay.
New to me too. Thank you very much, Luke, and much success to you. And have a great time at the Packing House. That's a great intimate event.
Absolutely. I just wanted to mention the last thing. I'm sorry to keep you up. Is that I'm going to be playing with another guitar player who I invited to play with me, and he's coming down from Boston, and his name is Jack Soroff, and he's also quite a player. So I just wanted to give his name a little shout out there.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you very much, Luke.
Thank you. I appreciate it.